If you have children with someone in Georgia that you are not married to, as a father, you have no legal rights to that child. Zero rights.
Wow.
Nothing. You can't do nothing with that child. You have to go through the legitimation process. You must, and it has to go through superior court. You cannot do it on your own. It has to be signed off on by a judge. So the legitimation is the route to take if you have children and you're not married to that mother. You got to go through legitimation or you have no rights as a father. They can still get child support. Because as long as DNA is established.
Now, how?
Y'all, if y'all see the crew, they like, what?
I wish we could turn this camera around sometimes. Y'all can see what's going on behind the camera. So a mom and a dad, a woman and a man
have a baby.
They're unmarried. So because they're unmarried, the father automatically has zero rights.
Correct.
That's crazy.
Until he goes through
legitimation.
A legal legitimation that has to go through the Supreme Court.
Superior
Court. Superior Court. But at the same time, mom can get child support.
Go through child support services, get a DNA test. Now, here's the catch. The DNA test is offered. It's not mandatory. So if a father says, no, I don't want it, you still going to pay child support.
What?
Okay, but wait. Okay, now I got a question. Okay. A woman can get child support after a DNA test.
Correct.
Right? Okay. But does the DNA test not serve as the legitimation?
It just proves paternity. It proves that you're the father. That's it.
What does
it doesn't give you
legitimation do?
It gives you legal rights. It gives you custodial rights. It gives you parenting time. It gives you custody.
Take my money.
DNA
but
gives you proves that you are the father.
And that you are financially responsible.
But the legitimation is what gives you rights.
Yes. And what a lot of people don't realize is you have, like, let's say you have two parents, they raise their children, they co-parent well, they never go through the legitimation process. Dad dies. That child gets nothing. They are not considered an heir because they were never legitimated.
Get out of here.
Wow. Hey, that was one of the best clips I've seen in a while. So shout out to the content creators. I let it play all the way through to make sure that they get their credit for this piece here on this particular podcast. But man, I thought that was just so interesting. And here's my thing. I think I actually agree with this. You know what I mean? Now, I know a lot of dudes nowadays, and I'm going to break this now because it's a lot of different moving parts to this. But I think a lot of men, man, do I want to start it off that way? Do I want to start it off that? Let me back up. Let me see how I want to come at my angle on this, right? Because let's recap first. So that way I can make sure I come in where I want to come in. Let's recap. So the first point was, if a man and a woman have a child, all right, they have a baby. The man, because he's not married to that woman, has no rights to that child, meaning visitation, custodial rights, any legal bound to that child. He has nothing. However, the second part of that is, if the man and the woman have a child, if the woman gets a DNA test and it's legitimate that he's the father, he still has to pay child support. But he doesn't get any legal rights. So without the court or without the marriage, the legal process of it, you have a kid by, you have no rights as a man. Unless you go through superior court, not Supreme Court, but superior court, right? So let me just make sure that that's clear on what they said. So even though the last part of that, because that was a question he asked, like, wait a minute, even though we didn't go through the court, I did a DNA test to say, hey, I'm the pappy. You know what I'm saying? I'm the daddy. It's legit. It's written in blood, right? We know I'm the daddy. I still get no rights because I'm not married to her, or I didn't do the legitimate legal steps to go through the superior court to make sure I get those actual parenting rights. That's how it is. Now that we established that, man, okay. Again, I actually agree. It depends on where your mind state is. That's what I want to say. It depends on where your mind state is, because I personally am a big advocate of marriage, right? I just think that, and no matter, people, it's mostly dudes be saying this. I ain't gonna lie. Well, man, I don't want the state involved. I don't want the government involved in my affairs, and, marriage is a made up thing. This is real conversations, right? These are real conversations with dudes. They like, why can't I just, basically, be with this woman forever without having that paperwork signed? You follow me? And I think at the very end, she made a point where I think a lot of dudes miss. She was saying if that child dies, they get nothing. Right? So again, every man's not rich, but like in my case, right? I have life insurance for my wife. And then we have kids, they'll be put on that life insurance. So if I pass, guess what? My wife taken care of, my kids taken care of. You follow me? Also, as a husband, as a man, you want to provide health care. You don't want your woman always having to go through the state, go through Uncle Sam to get some type of health care. You follow me? To get the state health care. You don't want that always be the case, because it's the bare minimum. Now, hey, some of that stuff is, the government be looking out for some of these kids, but a lot of it, that's kind of bare bones. But a lot of it, if you have some paid health care, you can get a better quality health care for that child. You follow me? So it's just better that you married, that way you can package it all up, because your wife can't get the health care unless she's actually your wife and y'all married. So it's more benefits that as a family unit and as a man leading it, you can provide to that wife and that child if y'all are actually married. Now, when y'all not married, you can't provide the same benefits. Like, there's nothing to pass down. Like, if you have a house, right, and you want to pass it down to your child, you can't do that. You won't have them a spot to start off in life. Let's say you have a house, you take care of it, it's paid off. As you get ready to go into retirement, your kids come of age, you like, man, I want to hand this off. Or let's say you die, right? But you never got that paperwork. You see what I'm saying? That could be a situation. Now, I'm not sure about like wills and all that. That maybe that's a thing that could, overshadow that. But from what it sounds like, anything legally legitimate that you want to pass down, and I'm sure some other people who can hit in the comments and say, hey, you missing XYZ as well, that if they married and that legal paperwork behind it, you could pass it down as well. But I'm just thinking off the cuff. But that's one of the benefits of being married, and be able to pass down to your family, your seed, right? Now, that's just one part of it. The second part I want to speak on is this is what we're running into. This is one of the big things, man, on just how men and women out here just having kids. Y'all just keep having kids, bro. I get sometimes things don't work out, right? And I want to make sure I preface this, because I don't want to speak on a woman and a man who might have had two kids, but it's the same unit. Let's say a woman had, 2-3 kids by one guy, and they happen to not work out. I'm cool with that, right? But sometimes, man, like, you keep seeing the same recurring situation where it's like a woman have a kid with a man, have a kid with another man, have a kid with another man, have a kid with another man. It's like, it's too much going on. And then, it's like, that's why we got the situation we got right now. And nothing's ever established to be able to make a strong family unit and a bond, because it's just out here wilding, just shooting up the club out here, just allowing the club to be shot up out here, And so you started running into these situations when the dude actually on his feet and he want to do, and that's what you see all the time online, right? And I can't just say online. This is stuff I experienced through growing up and seeing it around my environment, right? You know, the baby mama drama, the baby daddy drama that you see. And it's like, that's why dudes be all mad now. But it's like, bro, you didn't wear protection. Don't be mad now when you should have, instead of having a child. I'm not saying you can't get your fix out here, but you can't be having kids with multiple women and then you feel like you can still have that leverage and that power of overseeing your child's life and guiding them, but you didn't wear a condom and think it through. Because it's like, on some point, I do support the women and be like, yo, you had a baby, you said XYZ, you was gonna do this, even though we not married, right? Well, that's a whole nother point of this. But you chose to have a baby with me, and now I'm like, hey, this is what comes with it. You don't want to act right because you still want to dictate things without us being a family unit. There's a lot of times that's what happened. Dudes want to do it their way versus doing it the right way, which is we should have created a family. Now, hey, I get it. Sometimes you slip up, right? But you should have been wearing a goddamn condom. That's the honest God's truth. You should have been wearing a condom. And now you in a situation. But dudes go out there and do that multiple times. Like, I get one mistake, right? You like, damn, man. But then you go through it 2 and 3 other times. So man, a lot of these folks out here wilding. But I say all that to say, because I don't want to get too far from the point of the video. I say all this to say this is why a lot of times different legal things are put in position. 1. And 2, because men, we supposed to be more analytical, more practical, more with common sense to say, you know what? As a man, I'm not emotional about it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I'm going to have a child without being married to her, and I have no rights to this child, how things go. And again, I know this ain't every state, but I'm from Atlanta, so we specifically talking about Georgia. But I get it. So the state, like, man, y'all, I get they trying to help, but it ain't really helping because it's still reoccurring. You see what I'm saying? Dudes still out here getting chicks pregnant, multiple women, right? Having a baby and don't have no rights to the kid. And they mad. They mad when they can't come to the school to pick up their kid. They mad when they want to take their kid out on the weekend and they just can't scoop them up when they want to. You see what I'm saying? They mad when they think just sending a couple dollars is enough, and then they get put on child support. Man, listen, y'all got to think this stuff through, guys. Y'all have to think it through, man. It's funny. I always make this joke, but I'm dead serious. This ain't the 90s where money flowing. We got cookouts. Everybody got cribs. You going to your uncle's house. The money flowing, like people just popping kids out just to have them. And you know, a lot of times it didn't matter because everybody had money in the 90s. Block parties. People out there spending money crazy in the clubs. Like everybody had money in the 90s. Shout out to Bill Clinton. Everybody had money in the 90s. It was a thing. Hopping out kids left and right. Cribs didn't cost no type of, nothing. Inflation wasn't going crazy. Food costs was down. You had it. So it was like, they got multiple families. You hear about it. Granddaddies and them had 2 and 3 families. They had, the money was flowing. Now, nah, man, y'all better tighten up. And a lot of dudes are tightening up, but it's still a lot of knuckleheads out here who doing the wrong thing or they caught up and then they realizing, what it is, man. But listen, y'all better stop playing with y'all lives out here. Get married. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not telling you to not have sex with a woman before marriage. It would be nice not to, because I get it. Now that I'm older, it's like, I get it, but hey, I feel dudes who choose not to. It's like, hey, man, but at least do it in a sense, safety. And also you not put in this predicament, man, where you like, dang, I actually vetted this woman. We had good times, great intercourse, whatever have you, right? Good times. It was vibing. But marrying her, nah. But now you put yourself in a situation where you got a kid with her, you really didn't want to deal with her, and you like, damn, you feeling stuck. Then you ain't married to her, so you got no rights. She dragging you through the mud. I'm telling you, this what's going on. You trying to act right to keep things cool. You feel me? She don't care about none of that because she want to be with you. You don't want to be with her. Listen, this what's going on out here. And then guess what? When she real mad at you, you like, hey, look, you may be giving her enough dollars, but she like, this ain't enough. Or she mad at you, and then she like, I want more. You like, I don't have more. So she take you, put you on child support. Now, you know what I'm saying? It's a recurring cycle. It's dirt out here, man. So, but that's what it's gonna take. Hopefully this a buffer, because I don't know if it's, again, I don't see it working because it's the same thing going on here. Dudes just don't really care sometimes. So, but again, the whole point, again, I think it's a great video to see what's going on legally and why it's so important to get married. So shout out to the content creators. Great video topic. With that being said, hey, if you got any value, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video out for anybody who need to hear this message, who may be in this situation or who thinking about putting themselves in a situation. Boy, y'all crazy. Anyway, with that being said, I appreciate y'all. Much love. Peace.